Hello, you're watching Siwi Sofa. My name is Nina Kumambetova, and we are sitting at the World Water Week in Stockholm, discussing most pressing water issues in the world. And today we're going to discuss Central Asian region, especially involvement of academic societies into process of global sustainable development. And today we have Mr. Hamrat Masumullah, Policy Advisor of the Ministry of Agriculture of Afghanistan, Ms. Barbara Janusz-Pavleta, Head of Master Program of Water Resource Management and also UNESCO Chair in Water Management in German Kazakh University. Hello. Dr. Iskandar Abdullayev, Executive Director of the Regional Environmental Center for Central Asia. And also Ms. Zulfiya Yarulina, Leading Specialist of State Committee on Nature Protection of the Republic of Uzbekistan. Hello. So, I think we should start from the small background to understand what we're going to discuss. Why we're discussing this topic, Dr. Abdullayev? Why it is so important to discuss?
Yeah, I had asking many times this question from myself. Whenever we talk about the science and research, we say why? Because scientists are people who are special nature because they can do science for the sake of science. But in the world which we are now, science is background for development. You cannot have a sustainable development without basic support from research and science. You have to find new solutions, you have to search for new ways of doing business in environment, in water issues. So I think science and research is a very important part of development.
So and here's a gap between science and practice in the Central Asia, some gaps. Why?
Absolutely. I mean, it's historically. I mean, we had the former Soviet Union also had a lot of great research findings, but it was always dislinked from reality of life. And it was just inertially continuing. I mean, having very strong science background in research, but the solutions in the life are actually disconnected. It's because of organization of science, organization of research, that your decisions in life is decided separately from your findings in science. And it's not only it's not only in Central Asia. You can look any parts of the world, science and research always a little bit dislinked from real life, which is maybe good, because otherwise, if you only address realities of life, you will find something to solve today. But science and research should look future. And future, unfortunately or fortunately, always far away from the realities of life.
Okay, but if you will
Just to add to Dr. Sikandar, I think there is not total disconnect, so the link is loose, but like he said, there are reasons. So science remain in academia for all the time, Ministry of Higher Education, universities, and then the practice is being, led by ministries, like let's say Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of other, and then the link was not there. So it's the whole problem with the structure of those ministries, sectorial ministries as well. But I think it's growing now. I mean, consider the climate change. Climate change is now being integrated in each part of the policy now. At least if it's not fully integrated, part of it, decisions are based on it. At least that's been considered in the planning. So I think there is a trend going towards that. So it's not total disconnect, I would say, but I know there is links, and that needs to be further improved, I guess.
Here we also have the representative of Uzbekistan. What is the situation in your country?
Я бы хотела сказать, что тема сегодня очень интересная. И действительно, я как практик, и все практики, наверное, встречаются сейчас во время своей трудовой деятельности, с такой ситуацией, что приходят молодые специалисты, которые не всегда могут применить свои теоретические знания на практике. У нас в стране 58 высших учебных заведений, 14 их филиалов и 7 филиалов международных институтов, и которые ежегодно выпускают порядка 350 бакалавров и магистров, выходят, как говорится, в свет и начинают свою трудовую деятельность. Поэтому, конечно, необходимы такие программы, которые бы уже заранее готовили этих молодых специалистов к их трудовой деятельности. Но я хочу продолжить еще тот факт, что вот у нас сейчас самым профильным, самым таким замечательным институтом это был Ташкентский институт инженеров ирригации и механизации сельского хозяйства. Буквально недавно вернули ему опять старое название, мы этим очень гордимся. Ведь на базе этого института учились в свое время не только студенты из стран Центральной Азии, но всего Советского Союза, и кроме этого, практически со всего мира студенты проходили обучение. Ну вот сейчас рост этого института, там большая очень база, и научная база, образовательная база. Но очень отрадно сказать, что вот буквально на днях, это было на прошлой неделе, между Ташкентским институтом инженеров ирригации и механизации сельского хозяйства и региональным экологическим центром Центральной Азии был заключен меморандум о сотрудничестве, и в результате было принято решение создания центра науки и образования. То есть этот центр будет аккумулировать у себя все проектные решения, все научные исследования. В дальнейшем предполагается, что в центре будут привлекаться и другие высшие учебные заведения, не только нашей страны, но и других стран. Мы надеемся на это.
Yes. When we discussed this topic before, you tell me about some initiatives you have with Afghan side. What was it about the students?
По поводу привлечения афганцев, это у нас было, это в рамках проекта водообразования и сотрудничества. Это буквально было в мае месяце текущего года на базе, опять же, нашего любимого института. Был организован семинар. На этом семинаре приняли участие представители высших учебных заведений республики и афганские преподаватели, студенты. Был очень хороший семинар, были приняты решения по дальнейшему изучению тех же самых учебных курсов, которые приемлемы, как в Афганистане все-таки у нас условия практически землепользования, водопользования как бы едины, учебные семинары, обмен мнениями, обмен информацией, дальнейшее повышение квалификации и так далее. Вот это все было на семинаре. Так что сотрудничество у нас, оно налажено, и я думаю, будет и далее налаживаться. Вот Редса нам
You just mentioned this project, Smart Waters projects. I feel that I need to add some details about this. This mega project covered 6 countries, including Afghanistan, and 5 Central Asian countries. And also, the huge component of this project, as I know, is building the relationship between specialists from the whole region in the water sector. Can you please add more information about this?
I think Barbara could help me because we are sitting here together.
Yeah.
We have a very big component which is capacity building and research in science, where we also cooperate with German Kazakh University. Barbara, maybe you can give an explanation.
Maybe I could also refer a little bit to the previous question, because I also working in Central Asia already for 6 years. I also see a special feature probably that's also very often universities, they are like teaching entities. They are not really supposed to research. And science is about research, and research is rather done in the scientific institutions. So I think that there is even the division not only between the practical practitioners and scientists, but between the practitioner scientists and those who are offering the education. But I also see a number of steps already in the region which are trying to be taken, like common trainings, even done sometimes by in a small scale at our university, where we train the academic teachers together with the practitioners in economical issues of water management. So we really see this point, which has been mentioned, that it has to be breached. But coming back to the Smart Waters project, indeed, it's a very great opportunity for Central Asia to strengthen the cooperation in the science and education. And our university is implementing one of the components. It is support to our master program, which has been established already 6 years ago in Almaty by the German, funds offered by the German Foreign Ministry, so-called Berlin process, where the students from all now 6 countries, also Afghanistan, are coming to study integrated water resource management in Central Asia. And from the previous year, we have the luck to be supported by the Smart Waters project in offering the additional scholarships to students. And this is a very good point to add to the first question, because those students are mainly nominated by their agencies. They are coming from ministries for water, energy, environment agencies, and they are coming as a practitioners to study the science and to go back to use this academic background, strengthened academic background in their practitioners' work. So I think this is also one of the big steps to bridge the gap between the practitioners and academic education.
But you tell a lot of details now, very important details about this one direction. What is about another direction when we are talking about network of professionals during the region?
As Barbara said, there is also within this component we have other part where we bring together academicians from different Central Asian countries and Afghanistan. And they met regularly 2-3 times a year, and mainly focus of these meetings are what's going on in science, research and teaching, how it developed in each country, what are the champions, what are the new results which they achieved so far. I think we see it as a platform of exchange between the academicians, because it's important that your teaching methods, your research methods are comparable and compatible. Otherwise, you can develop experts which are speaking in different language. One way is bringing them together to the master degree program and study in the same university. Second is try to harmonize your teaching and research methods, because we have 6 countries. And we were part of the former Soviet Union, and we had the same curricular and research methods former times. But now it's challenge how we can better coordinate. So that also network, which we call it network, is working to really bring them together.
And also maybe to add on this is that's not only meetings, this is even more, because we have publications. There is a online journal to be published in English and in Russian, where the scientists can publish submit their papers. And this journal has an international board of specialists who are also, so to say, assessing the quality of the papers. Then the papers are going through the peer review process, so we are trying to keep it really truly scientifically proven, international, and so on. And there is also another publication, so-called digest, where we tried scientific digest for Central Asia, where we are trying to collect the information from worldwide, what is done in the science, in water management, what is done in the among the policy, on the policy level, maybe the policy papers, reports, briefs, and we translate at least the summaries into Russian, and we publish every month to make sure that our scientists through all of the region, they can also receive some update out of this, what is going on in the international level.
We're talking a lot now about the networking, that we build networks, etc. But how we can do this, you also mentioned, but please add some more details, how we can do this more sustainable. I mean, how we can provide the element of continuity to this process when different scientists can discuss together most pressing issues, most pressing water issues.
I think there are some initiatives taken, if I'm not wrong, that your joint research program, it's also under the umbrella of SMART project. So, but of course, the capacity in research are different. Like in Afghanistan, the capacity is too low. Dr. Iskandar, he worked there, compared to other Central Asian countries. So that has to be considered. And, joint research projects could be something, that could lead to cooperation, trust building later on. And that's one element, that has been worked on. And engaging these students that you get for masters. Yeah? So the research part, I think, there has to be encouraged, to go back to their own countries, do research on integration, water resource management. You could do it at a local scale, IWRM, but also on the transboundary scale. So how you see that? So I think those are the initiatives that that being considered. I think, but it just need to be materialized. I think, and we are working on it. We are facilitating the internship program for Afghan students who will go to this master degree in Kazakh or Uzbek university, that university. So we will be facilitating that, and also providing them research opportunities, creating a sort of conducive environment for them so they can come back, do their research, and become part of that organization later on, and then they have this links that they have developed with the students there, so that could be a tool for cooperation in future as well. So
okay, can this network be the instrument to provide exactly this reference from academics to decision makers? Can it be or no?
It can be, and also what we do usually, for example, it's in October, is planned that we invite 2 meetings together, parliamentarians and also the research network, and you have to always make a linkages. it doesn't work if you just let this one network work its own and next platform works its own. You always have to try to facilitate some dialogue between different networks. And we believe that this meeting will further increase the linkages between science and research. This is number one. And then number two, the demand has to be there. We cannot blame only researchers and scientists not providing solutions to the reality, because there must be demand from the governments, demand from the users to knowledge. If you want to develop your community and society in a way that you are based on knowledge, you have to demand the knowledge. I think in all 5 countries we now more and more listen, so talk about science-based solutions, long-term solutions. The long-term solutions, science-based solutions, comes from communities of research. I think there is a demand, but it must be really very very formally formulated by the governments. If you decide to do everything without science, then you don't need the scientists.
So a legislative element is one of these obstacles, let's say, yes? Can we name others? Obstacles which really buffer our networking in scientific?
Probably there's also a very limited number of platforms where we could meet. I mean, to bridge this gap between those two groups, right? Because the scientists usually they don't meet the decision makers. So one of the platforms what Iskander is referring to, right? But it's also you can look at the virtual platforms. What I was mentioning before, that if you have a e-journal, when you have an access via internet to all of these publications, one of the category of the publication is the also decision-making support. So you can find there also some short statements from the scientists, what they think about particular decisions related to water management and climate change, for example. So then you build this relation. But you spoke about the sustainability. I think this is extremely important to understand that education and science, it's not something where you will receive the outcomes after 1 year of project, right? That you fund it and you get the great scientific output. It takes time, and this is natural, and this is a feature which we have to accept and build upon. So it's important to have a different cooperation. Like our university is very happy also to work with CAREC or with governments, right? Because then you have this exchange and the different even partners who are coming from abroad, like the Germans, Swiss, whoever is coming. They already build upon what has been done, and this is the sustainability.
But we also tell about the differences about our countries, and Afghanistan have another situation. Yes, how we can, to provide more capabilities, to Afghanistan to be involved in the process in the region, in this process in the region.
I'll first add to the point that was previously mentioned, so that the demand for the research and the policy. I think that's also important. But on top of this, it's also important that the language that's been used by the scientists, that's rightly interpreted to make it in a way that the policymakers understand this. So I think now the academia people, the way they speak, the way they convey their message, it's not properly conveyed to the policymakers. So I think there is a disconnect somewhere, and I think partly the policymaker has to do their job, but then partly the scientists, they have to somehow switch their tone or switch their language, the way the language the message could be passed. In Afghanistan, I think we have hardly now started master degree program. I think that after 2010 there are a couple of 3 or 4 master degree programs that has been started. And research barely considered after you do it mainly in the master degree. But we have problem, like you had about 28, 29 or 30% of the lecturers, they're still undergrad, they don't have. So there's this whole research environment, the culture is missing there. So we have to work on based on their number, but there are steps taken. So now we have a big number of teachers who have been provided opportunity, like for example under the DART program. They were given opportunity to complete their master degree program and come and back and they do their research. I think it's a gradual step that's going, towards creating more research culture and those sort of joint research projects. I think that will also create an enabling environment to promote research in Afghanistan.
And I think it's also one more issue which we should not forget, that the world now is very interconnected, right? And water is not just like it maybe used to be with the hydrological approach, right? Now water has, we recognize it has many different aspects, starting from cultural, over economical, over legal, political, technology aspects related to GIS, for example, and modeling and everything. So I think it's also very important that the science in Central Asia gets more open, probably, towards this interdisciplinary approach, that you of course has to be, remain a specialist of your own specialty, but you have to keep in mind that in the context of climate change, in the context of globalization, all of this requests from us to have interdisciplinary research, for example, and even interdisciplinary teaching, that when you study something, to really finally become the professional, you have to have an idea, an overview in the water sector, which is so interdisciplinary about all issues. Finally.
Okay, interdisciplinary approach is one pillar from many. As I know, there's in the world there's a practice of scientific communication, when you have another person who can translate scientific language to decision makers. How about that? Do we have such mediation in our region? Somebody who can manage this, or instruments who can help, which can help us to do that, translate scientific to the decision makers? How we can manage with that?
It's, you know, we all live in knowledge societies now. You know, without knowledge you can develop, but it will be extensive development, and you will spend a lot of resources. But if you are wise, you have to build this communication between research and development. The CAREC, what we have actually, we do a lot of development work. We work in villages, we work in basins, we work in rural communities, and always when we come there, we find and see first the problem. And we never have to try to solve it without knowledge, without science, and without investigation and research. Because at the end, this will be short-living decisions, and it will be very costly. Mm-hmm. It's number one. Number two, about translation from research to decision makers. I think there is an interface. This interface is universities. And what Barbara said rightly, we disconnected universities from research. First thing we have to do, any university should be a research base as well. And you can't imagine if you're teaching at university but you're not doing research. It cannot be. And the universities has a right in linkages to decision makers. For example, I can give any example of Central Asian country. The minister, whenever he gets a task from cabinet ministers, he calls first the university and calls the professors, come help us to develop this program. That's the interface. But if your professor was only teaching, not doing research, then it's a big problem.
And maybe also we could ask another example, because I don't think that we can really translate science into, for example, social media shots, right? That you are posting something on Facebook very briefly, where people just look at this within 15 seconds, you have to catch somebody's attention. It's impossible because it's not really science. But we could think about scientific products, and then the product itself is still going to be scientific, but the message about this product, you can make it very simple to inform people, like, okay, you have a mobile application, this mobile application shows you when the rain is going to fall, and then you can use it in irrigating your field. It could be a message to the farmer, right? Or to any other person who is using water. So, and behind, of course, you have a great knowledge and great research which leads to this product, but the product is much easier to be transferred into the average person's understanding, because I don't think that everybody needs to be a scientist, right? But scientists have to bridge the gap, and we have to find this way, right, to communicate. Not only with the decision makers probably, but generally with all the stakeholders, because everybody uses water, right? So we shall manage the water in favor of everyone. So.
Can I ask you, what do you think about the perspective of this networking in the region? Because you are the representatives of the country where this alma mater for the water integrated water resources, I mean this team, your university that you explained before, like this is a really huge old one alma mater. So what do you see as perspective for this networking around the region in this sphere?
Ну, представители нашего института, вообще наших институтов республики, они являются членами сети и активно участвуют в работе, в деятельности этой. Ну, кроме этого, я еще хочу добавить тот вопрос, что у нас в рамках программы ЕС, у нас в республике сейчас, программа называется «Устойчивое развитие водного хозяйства в сельской местности». По второму компоненту предусмотрено повышение потенциала учебных заведений, да? И в рамках вот этого компонента сейчас осуществляется работа по изучению всех учебных процессов, учебных программ, для того, чтобы, вот мы говорили, что каждый обучается по-своему, у каждого своя программа, хотя мы должны делать одно дело, рационально использовать воду, мы как экологи должны охранять нашу природу и так далее. И вот мы думаем, что по результатам вот этой работы все-таки у нас получится наработка хороших документов, и мы как бы придем к какому-то определенному результату и получим хорошие учебные программы для наших институтов и учебных заведений и других.
There's also the third component, as I know, yes? Is this one raising awareness of what issues? Is it this one, yeah?
Yes.
Can it help to manage this transferring from networking of scientists to the decision making?
Most probably, because the third component, which implemented by CAREC, Environmental Regional Environmental Center, Central Asia, mainly using the knowledge products and translating, as what you said before, to simple language that people accept. It could be simple brochures, it can be simple leaflets, which really explains the importance of water and how each citizen can contribute saving it. It's not too much scientific, but still it's based on science, yeah? It's messages. But also one way which I would like to add how you can disseminate information about the science and research is policy briefs. We always wonder whenever we have a big project finished and you have a thick report and everyone wonders,
Exactly.
Can I read it? Because it takes time. And then afterwards we work on 2-page brief, policy brief. And it brief can target different groups. It can really target the decision makers. Then you really make decision, the messages which is really interesting for policymakers. But you can also make a policy brief which you also targets not only policymakers but technical people. Then you show what kind of technologies you can propose and how it works. Illustrate with schemes and drivings that people can understand how it works. So first do good research, and then you make policy briefs, disseminate it, and use your networks to disseminate it. That's how you can get your messages out.
But
And
yeah,
also one maybe more issue which we could add is also the young generation, right, of scientists or of the practitioners. I think that they are also much more focused on the concrete products or something what they can share with others, even in the easiest ways like whichever messengers. So I was thinking also to say that this is a very recent development in Central Asia when we are trying to support and create maybe and to support a network of young professionals which we have called CAIF, which in Russian sounds very good. It makes like make happy something happy fun in your life. But this is a very serious approach and it has been triggered by the World Youth Water Parliament, which is also a very important organization for the young professionals worldwide. And we try to set up something like this for Central Asia to really also make sure that the young professionals, that they have attachment to the academia, and that they can learn from each other and benefit from each other. That's the first point. And the second point is, I also think it's very important that we support teachers, academic teachers, in their further development, the capacity building for teachers, academic teachers, to develop in the professional terms. And here I think about the specialized trainings, which I also mentioned before, which are conducted together with professionals. Not only just meetings, the general meetings, but really training, progressing their, which can progress their knowledge, develop their knowledge on very newest developments, right, in any field, climate change, agriculture, energy. So I think those are the newest approaches which we are trying to bring to the scientific sphere, to the scientific area in Central Asia with our activities.
Okay, we are up to time. We're finished with our time, but I want to play a game with you in the end of this discussion. If I ask you, name just one word, just one consequences which can help the scientific society of Central Asia to be connected more and to be presented at the global arena, just one word, what you would say? And you, sorry please, and you will tell one by one, so listen to each other please.
Is it still alphabetical order for countries? we are thinking of changing the name of our country actually, because it starts with A. So
this old joke, we should explain it, yeah.
Islamic Republic with I.
Yeah, with I, yeah. No, I think joint research projects. It's 3 words, but I think that encapsulates everything.
Yeah, I would speak about interdisciplinary approach.
Good. 2 words.
That's a
3
notion.
too. Probably you will name one.
Yeah, I would say publish or perish, because if you don't publish, no one will recognize you. Central Asians do not publish too much. They should publish in internationally peer-reviewed journals. Then everyone recognizes Central Asia as a source of knowledge.
And you?
Корпоративность, наверное, нужно работать вместе. Об этом речь.
Thank you very much for your comment. Thank you very much for this constructive and interesting conversation. Thank you very much, our beautiful minds there behind the camera. Goodbye and see you.